Part 1. I love the Demon Lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Ji Shi Shui Bao. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. As a big devil, I can never be elegant and easygoing, read more. It hurts. It hurts too much. Whoa, let me out. By Qingling. You despicable and shameless devil. The poor will tear you to pieces. Unexamined. A creepy and shrill cry, like a ghost crying on a barren mountain, came faintly from my ears. Bai Feng's fingers moved slightly, and he vaguely felt it. At the same time, an indescribable rancid smell soaked into the nostrils. Cough, cough, cough. Accompanied by a violent cough, Bai Feng suddenly opened his eyes, looked around, and what caught his eyes was a dark chamber. Bloody stone walls. Green fluorescent lights flickering like will-o'-the-wisps. And at the corner, bloody and bloody, piled up like a hill of stumped limbs and broken arms. Vomit. Seeing this bloody scene like a picture scroll of hell, Bai Feng's stomach was overwhelmed, and he instinctively took a few steps back. Am I transmigrating? The real picture texture and scene interaction made Bai Feng think of this immediately. But the next second, he felt that the surrounding scenes and the totem carved with blood on the stone wall seemed familiar. Huh? Isn't this the scene of the final boss battle in the Little Butter I played before? What's the name of the big villain? While thinking about it, Bai Feng covered his mouth and nose, and stepped back, trying to stay away from the pile of dead bodies in the corner. At this moment, his peripheral vision inadvertently glanced at the bright place ahead. It was a water mirror with golden brilliance flowing like a magic weapon of the fairy family. As if sensing his gaze, the brilliance of the mirror automatically receded, gradually reflecting a tall figure. It was a man with an extremely young face and handsome and stern features. The black robe has black hair and black pupils, but his complexion is horribly pale. At the corner of his right eye, there is still an inch or so scar, which makes his originally lonely and cold temperament even more sinister and arrogant. It's him. Mo Jun Qingling, Bai Qingling. In a daze, Bai Feng recognized the current situation. He has indeed crossed over. He also time-traveled and became the big villain in a small butter that was played some time ago. Qingling Mo Jun. Fairy Love is a national-style 3D love adventure game developed by Pig and Goose Studio, an unknown small workshop in China. It's a serious game. However, due to its astringent female character Liwi and the plot that includes all XP, it is often ridiculed by players as Little Butter. However, it is this unrefined Little Butter. After its release, with its fascinating worldview of the fairy tales of the country, exquisite and delicate picture quality, rich and diverse gameplay, and the touching plot core under the buttery skin, it has become a big hit that shocked the industry, and is deeply loved by the audience. Popular with domestic players. Even whenever a masterpiece from a major European and American manufacturer comes out, Xianlian players will always comment dismissively, I feel that the picture quality is not as good as Xianlian. Since the release of the first expansion piece The Fall of the Demon Lord, tens of millions of young players have poured into it, and were moved to tears by the plot of the characters in the game. Bai Feng is also one of them. Since buying this game, his body is getting worse day by day. Reward yourself to play day and night, immerse yourself tirelessly in the magnificent and gorgeous 3D fairy world, explore adventures with the harem group wives, and Park Fenglin Knight. Until after playing the finale of the first expansion pack The Fall of the Demon King, killing the big boss Qingling Demon Lord, and playing the pure love ending of all the heroines, after unlocking the battle CG, he suddenly felt dull and temporarily abandoned the game. In Bai Feng's opinion, in the first expansion, apart from a few outstanding heroines, the most impressive thing is not the stallion male protagonist Xiao Chen, but in all the ending routes, the common big villain Qingling Mo Jun. Demon Venerable Qingling, whose common surname is Bai, and whose Taoist name is Qingling. His real name does not appear in the game. Because she was pregnant with the innate formless demon seed, she was abandoned in the mountains by her parents who were righteous monks when she was young, and was later rescued by the master of the demonic way, Evil Medicine Master. When he was 13 years old, he inadvertently learned that his master had adopted him, just to wait for the demon seed in his body to mature and refine it as a human pill. The design was trapped in the pill furnace, and the human pill was refined alive. After killing his master, in order not to expose the matter, he used his own demonic blood as an introduction to set a forbidden curse to kill hundreds of fellow disciples, leaving only one junior sister, and then burned the master's sect and died in exile. In the next few years, as a young man, because he was pregnant with a rare demon species, he was tricked and killed many times by masters of righteousness and demons. After experiencing several betrayals, his temperament turned black. From then on, he practiced goo, refined human puppets, and did everything, embarking on the path of ruthless cannibalism. I don't know how many years have passed. When the word Bai Qingling returned to the background story of the game again, he was already the strongest in the entire Yunzhou Eastern region, the younger generation of the demonic Dao. With blood on his hands, everyone in the world is afraid. At that time, he was also appreciated by Yewudao, one of the 8 great demon sects in the East, the suzerain of Kangming sect, and recruited him as the master of Yuluo Palace. His status was only under the suzerain. It was also during this period that he adopted 3 orphans who had a miserable life experience as his personal disciples. These are the 3 most important heroines in the early stage of the game, Fenlixu, Tantai Lingian, and Sen Xing. So far, the main storyline of Xianlian has officially opened. Hey, the villain is the villain. This buddy can be regarded as the top boss in the first expansion, second only to the Suanmandaist heroine Mu Xinlan. The most important thing now is to determine the timeline of crossing. After asking countless philosophical questions, Bai Feng, who finally decided to accept the reality, began to recall the plot of the game. When Bai Qingling joined the Kangming sect, he already cut off human emotions. Therefore, when he adopted 3 female disciples, he only used them as pawns, or even sacrifices. If I remember correctly, the eldest disciple, Fenlixu, is 19 years old and was born as a poor fisherman's girl. Her cultivation level is the highest among the 3 disciples, and at the same time, she is also the biggest among the 3 younger sisters. Bai Feng recalled. In my mind, I can't help but think of Fenlixu's dress in the previous game, which was cut by the sword energy, bound by the fairy rope, and the defeated CG with a prominent figure. No, I'm Bai Qingling's deity now, and Fenlixu is my apprentice brought up by me. One can't, at least. Not for now. After self-condemnation, he continued to recall. Fenlixu, at the age of 14, was Bai Qingling. No, I sent him to Jendao Daozong, Kunlun Daozong's undercover agent, and he is not currently in Kangmingzong. Second disciple, Tantai Lingian, 17 years old, intelligent and quiet, with a noble background, is one of the 4 ancient cultivation clans in Yunzhou, a descendant of the Tantai family. The current patriarch of the Tantai clan killed them all, and was rescued by me when he fled, and currently under my arrangement, he is serving as a Dharma protector in the section. As for the 3rd disciple, Sen Xing, who has just reached the age of G, has always served by my side and is a qualified tool man. And the point in time I'm currently traveling through. It's not right. How could this sword mark appear in the corner of my eye? Could it be that I have already fought against Mu Xinlan at this time? Bai Feng's heart sank suddenly. It turned out that the woman who gave him this sword mark was called Mu Xinlan. She was the #1 person in Yunzhou's righteous path cultivation world, the leader of Taoism recommended by the world, and also the ceiling of combat power in the first expansion pack. In the battle with Mu Xinlan, Bai Qingling was exhausted by the latter's thousands of years of cultivation, and the 9 tribulations of yin and fire sacrificed by the latter burned up his cultivation, and finally escaped back to the Kangming zone. And then, taking advantage of his illness to kill him, it was his harmless little apprentice, Sensing who terminated his big boss demon lord. Damn. It's the finale just after transmigrating. It's still the big villain who is about to receive the box lunch. This is not the way I want to travel through. 10,000 muddy horses galloped past Bai Feng's heart. At this time. Ding. A cold electronic voice sounded, "Congratulations to the host. You have bound the legendary Great Love System. Good guy. Isn't Goldfinger credited? I really am a real traveler." Bai Feng felt unexpected ecstasy in his heart. Next moment, a golden text message was reflected in his mind. Newbie Tip 1, from the moment the host travels through, a real world full of infinite possibilities opens up. Tip 2 for newbies, the host only needs to continue to spread pure love and caring in daily life, and then he will get certain points, so he can go to the system mall to exchange for item rewards. Oh, asterisk, for more help, click here to expand. What the hell? Spread love and care? Shouldn't that be the right thing to do? How can I be elegant and easygoing? Dish. I love the Demon Lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Ji Shi Shui Bao Ao. Chapter 2. Chapter 2-2. New mission, influenced by great love. Seek to follow up. Name, Bai Feng, road name, Qingling. Physique, congenital formless demon species, unrestricted by all laws, impervious to all poisons, super enlightened, and the only way of magic. Age, 120. Cultivation, none, the Danshan collapses, the sea of qi is closed, and the qi cannot be introduced into the body for the time being. Gongfa's supernatural powers, prime ancient containing breath technique, available, heavenly demon transformation dragon scripture, not available, blood sea sad songju, not available, 9 yi burning heaven ju, not available. Auxiliary skills, alchemy, LV89, Gudeo, LV95, beast control, LV60, artifact refining, LV90. Reminder, the full layer of any skill in the current world is level 99. Points, 0 points. Look at the character attribute panel reflected in my mind. Bai Feng was completely numb. You know, the Bai Qingling in the game is the supreme demon Dao in the mid-stage of transformation god, and when he appeared in the early stage, he was in the air every second of every second. But he just missed the glorious period, and traveled to the late stage when he lost all his magic power and was bullied by dogs when the tiger fell into Pingyang. At this juncture, not to mention the little apprentice Sensinger who will appear next, even any deacon in Yuluo Temple can put him to death. Fortunately, Bai Qingling's breathing supernatural power, the primordial containing breath art can work without any cultivation. This kind of supernatural power can completely conceal one's aura, even the immortals who have crossed the catastrophe can't spy on it. It is also because of this that no one dares to act rashly before finding out his truth. Thinking of this, Bai Feng finally felt relieved. At this time, da-da-da. Outside the secret room, there are light footsteps approaching. Immediately afterwards, a girlish voice came. "Master, are you inside? It's time to take the medicine." The voice was soft and timid, and seemed to carry a touch of temptation. Outside the door is my third disciple, Sensinger. Is this little girl in such a hurry? She wished that my master would die sooner. It's really filial. Bai Feng gritted his teeth. Calm. Now I have time traveled inexplicably. If I die here, I might disappear forever. Therefore, when I meet Sensinger next time, I can't reveal a single flaw in every word I say, or even every expression I make. Think about it. Bai Feng did not immediately respond to Sensinger outside the door. Instead, the brain turned sharply, and the plot of the game was replayed from the perspective of the villain. In the battle between Bai Qingling and Mu Xinlan in the Valley of the Sealed Souls, the latter did not hesitate to burn them all at the cost of burning all their cultivation bases and losing all their mana. No third person knew about this matter. I didn't expect that Mu Xinlan, a woman who killed people and killed her heart. After returning to the sect, she was seriously injured, and she didn't even have time to retreat and heal her injuries, so she announced the matter to the world as soon as possible. You know, in the background of the game, Bai Qingling is almost the public enemy of the entire Yunzhou continent. Not only is everyone in the righteous way of comprehension world able to get him, but even in the magic way, there are countless people who want to skin him and suck his soul out. Therefore, as soon as the news of Bai Qingling's complete loss of mana was released, the entire Demon Dao, and even the Kangming sect, immediately caused a huge shock. Countless enemies are ready to move, wanting to replace this young demon giant, after killing him. Fortunately, Bai Qingling's previous means of strength were too terrifying and brutal. No one dared to act rashly. Even most of the high-level demons felt that this news was deliberately released by Jindao. Seeing that there has been no movement from the Devil's Way, one of the four leaders of the Righteous Way, the suzerain of the Kunlun Dao sect, Yugzuzi became impatient. He immediately assigned the task of assassinating Bai Qingling to the hero Xiao Chen. As for Xiao Chen, played by the player, his real identity is Yu Suzu's second disciple, who has been sent to the Kangming sect as an undercover agent for 10 years. Now, I am worshipping under the sect of Huayuerong, one of the four main hall masters in the sect, the master of the Yinghui Hall, the sage embroidered face. Bai Feng suddenly felt a little emotional. I think that when he played Xian Lian in his previous life, he replaced Xiao Chen as the male protagonist, and pushed his girls to upgrade and pretend to be aggressive all the way. It was so fun. But now, the game is reflected in reality, but it has become a big villain who has betrayed all relatives, is at the end of his life, and is in danger. What a humming trick. With a sigh, continue to review. At the beginning of the game, the player as Xiao Chen, after receiving the letter from Yu Suzu, has to approach Bai Qingling's second disciple, Tantai Lingian, and third disciple, Sen Xing to complete some side tasks and obtain the status of these two sisters. Good feeling trust. And in this timeline, Tantai Lingian and Sen Xing who grew up, have gradually seen the true face of their master, and resentment gradually grew in their hearts. Especially Tantai Lingian. When she learned that from the moment she was adopted by the master, she was regarded as a taboo, and the future outcome was to be made into a beauty puppet of pleasure by the master, and her intention to kill was even more determined. After that, Tantai Lingian and Xiao Chen, as the unyielding think tank in the harem group in the early stage, made a preliminary plan. Sen Xing the younger junior sister who is in charge of the Linko Garden, took advantage of the opportunity of delivering medicine every month to poison Bai Qingling. The poison is Xiao Chen's real master. The Kanju soul devourer that Yu Suzu spent 100 years refining, is colorless, tasteless, and formless. The barrier of his innate formless demon body. Thinking of this, Bai Feng couldn't help but smile wryly in his heart. According to the plot of the game, the reason why Tantai Lingian ordered the little junior sister to poison her was because Bai Qingling was sensitive and suspicious by nature, and only trusted the little apprentice. But in fact, with Bai Qingling's character, he would never trust anyone. This wave of proper plot kills. Anyway, why do I have emotional ups and downs when I recall the story of Bai Qingling, as if I have actually experienced it? Could it be the so-called memory fusion? Bai Feng was in a daze for a second. But soon, the thoughts returned to the topic. According to the narration of the game, because I have controlled and abused the three female apprentices physically and mentally since I was a child, they have developed an attachment to me similar to the Stockholm Syndrome to varying degrees. Therefore, Xiao Chen formally established a relationship with them, and the crazy strategy was after I died. That is to say, at this moment, even though they know everything and want to kill me, they still can't bear it in their hearts. Especially the little apprentice, Sensing. The reason why she is willing to listen to second senior sister's words and poison me is only because second senior sister told her, Master never really liked you, he just used you as a sacrifice. For this girl, like is extremely important. From the perspective of the plot, if Bai Qingling, no, if I show my sincerity to her, even if I am killed as a sacrifice, she may be willing. Well, it seems that this girl is my only breakthrough now. Bai Feng frowned slightly. After a moment of silence, he made a difficult decision. Forget it. From the moment of crossing, everything has become a reality. And I am the real Bai Qingling. As for Lixu, Lingyan, and Xing, they are all disciples brought up by me. To them, my master is like a father. Therefore, I will never tolerate Xiao Chen, a stallion, getting a single hair of them contaminated. Even if this is a small butter world, then I should personally. Wait. Did I assume some weird role? Forget it, let's take a step and watch one. After some deliberation, Bai Feng waved his sleeves and stood up. At this time, a light curtain appeared in his mind. You have received a novice mission. Mission content, influence Sensing with great love, so that she can let go of her hatred and be completely devoted to the host. Mission reward, 500 points, golden treasure chest x1. Task time limit, 1 hour. Failure penalty, the system will automatically separate from the host. Bai Feng, a kind of plant. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I love the Demon Lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Ji Shi Shui Bao Ao. Chapter 3. Chapter 3. This man is so damn gentle, read more. Kangmingzong, Yaluo Hall, outside the door of the blood kitchen. A girl in a light pink dress, about 15 or 16 years old, is standing here. I saw her wearing a neat flying fairy bun, almond eyes and peach cheeks, and a delicate appearance. The skin all over her body seemed to be inlaid with fairy jade, white and flawless, which made people want to touch it. At this moment, under the hem of the girl's floral skirt, those long legs wrapped in white eye silk were standing pretty close together, caressing uneasily, as if she had a very serious mind. Master, he has always been as careful as dust, and his intelligence is superb. Could it be, he discovered something in advance, so, he hasn't responded to me? The girl's crystal clear eyes drooped anxiously, with long eyelashes fluttering. Gradually, her eyes became a little wet and red. No. Why do I still call him master in my heart? The two senior sisters have already told me his true face. He just trained me as a sacrifice from the beginning to the end. Master, he is not that person. He has never treated Xing sincerely. In his heart, Xing is no different from the two senior sisters, and everyone in this world. They are just tools that can be used. He will always be the Qingling demon venerable who stands high above all others, treats all beings like dogs, and will give up anything for the sake of longevity. Xing, what is it? But knowing this, I'm still so reluctant. In an instant, countless past memories flooded the girl's thoughts. She seemed to see the tall and majestic figure in black robe again. The man who held her hand tenderly and gave her a home. The girl couldn't hold it back any longer, tears poured down like rain, and her beautiful face was ruined by crying. After a while, trembling, she took out a glazed porcelain bottle from her bosom. This is something given to her by the second senior sister and the senior brother Xiao Chen next door. Once you let that person swallow it, kill him, senior. Kill that person, and it's over. Three of us seniors and sisters, who didn't secretly admire him back then, but now, who doesn't want to kill him with his own hands. At this moment, the choked words of second senior sister Tantai Lingian sounded again in the girl's mind. She finally made a decision. She stretched out a pair of snow-white jade hands, ready to push open the door of Blood Kitchen. If nothing unexpected happens. The next moment, she could see the picture of the man called Demon Lord Qingling, expressionlessly tinkering with those insane masterpieces. At this time, a familiar voice came, "Come in, senior." Hearing this, Senior's pretty face paled, as if her whole body was frozen. I don't know if it is her illusion. She always felt this time. That tall man, his voice actually carried a hint of gentle. Senior tremblingly opened the door and walked into the dark room. Disciple. Greetings to master. The girl came to the center of the hall, bowed down, not daring to look directly at the cold and terrifying phantom on the throne. No respond. The man who was honored by the devil and made the entire Yunzhou continent tremble with fear, never said a word. In the dark room, there was only the sound of the girl's restless breathing. Senior. You have to cheer up. There is nothing to be afraid of. Senior brother Xiao Chen next door, I guarantee with my life, the master is wrong, Bai Qingling is already seriously injured at this moment. Even if he still has the strength to spare. That Conja Soul Devourer powder can also make him die, and he will not enter reincarnation. Senior clenched her fists tightly, comforting herself. Seeing that the other party still did not respond. The girl's eyebrows twitched, and she finally remembered something. Master, it's my disciple who was rude. While speaking, the girl slowly removed her apron, revealing her snow-white and smooth shoulders. As the shoulders were all taken off, a beast-controlling collar inlaid with bells appeared on her neck. Immediately afterwards, the girl took off her outer shirt bit by bit. Until the pink and white arms are completely exposed, only a close-fitting thin garment is left. Up to this point, the girl's movements have not stopped. When she saw her tie up her bun with a jade hairpin, her snow-white nape suddenly appeared. Then, the whole person prostrate on the ground, with all fours facing down, like a well-behaved and obedient kitten. After doing all this, only then did she raise a delicate and pleasant melon-seeded face, and said weakly, Senior pays homage to master. What the hell is the master? Bai Feng, who had an indifferent face the whole time, was also surprised. He was originally planning to stop with silence and pretend to be a master without speaking. Never thought about it? This girl just played like this. He glanced straight at the girl sitting next to him. He finally remembered some plots about Senior. It turned out that Senior came from a long-lived family in the upper realm, and possessed a 1 in a billion ghost-controlling spirit body that could control ghosts and soldiers, with unlimited potential. Therefore, the demon Bai Qingling, after gaining insight into her roots, decisively took her into his family, and these years, he has continuously enslaved and suppressed this little girl mentally, trying to make her his willing slave. When his soul is completely domesticated, he will cast a forbidden technique to forcibly swallow the girl's ghost-controlling spirit body alive and fuse it. Such a cute little girl is counting. Bai Qingling, you are even worse than a beast. Even though he knew that the so-called predecessor did not exist and was just an illusory character, Bai Feng couldn't help but curse. As a youth on earth with 3 views and integrity, he naturally cannot accept this perverted behavior. He even couldn't wait to warm this lost girl with his supreme love. Bai Feng lowered his mood, narrowed his eyes, and said indifferently, Senior, what are you doing here? Returning to the master, another batch of 100-year-old elixir from the spirit grass garden has been cooked, and this disciple came here specially to present the 9-turn immobilization pill that the master asked for a while ago. Sensing lowered her head, and with trembling little hands, she took out a glass-colored pill bottle from her bosom. Then, step by step, he knelt down to the throne and offered the pill bottle with both hands. Oh! It's been refined so quickly? Can the quality of Chindan be guaranteed? Baifeng didn't reach out to pick it up, but pretended to ask casually. Being asked such a question, the girl immediately sweated profusely, her legs rubbed against each other uncomfortably, and the iron rings on her ankles made a bang-dang sound. Reporting to the master. In the past 2 months, Senior has been soaking in the alchemy workshop, together with the elders of the blood refining hall in this hall, feeding and refining day and night, and dare not neglect in the slightest. Presumably. Senior summoned up her courage, raised her eyes for the first time to look at the handsome man on the throne with an uncertain expression, and said word by word. Chindan's quality is at least above the 7th rank. Please, master, rest assured. 7 products. Baifeng looked at this bottle of Kanja soul-devouring pill that was used to end his life, and said coldly, why did I sense the 9 colors Dangxia at the mouth of this bottle? I'm afraid it's not something you can do to make this 9th grade pill. It can be worked out. It's the effect of auxiliary medicine. When it came out of the oven, Senior added a little cabbage lotus, imaginary flour, and kunpeng powder that can improve the quality. Senior lowered her head, and said all the words that her senior sister had prepared for herself in advance. Did you add auxiliary materials? Yes. Was it intentional, or was it accidental? Baifeng raised his eyebrows, still not intending to accept the pill. Yes. The girl gritted her teeth, it was intentional. Master, please rest assured that even with the supplementary ingredients, Senior still tries her best to retain more than 90% of the original pill's efficacy. If the master doesn't believe it, you can try it. If half of the medicine's effect is lost, Senior will be punished severely. Yet. Baifeng took the porcelain bottle from the girl's hand with a blank expression, turned his wrist over, and a green-brown medicine pill with a round body flew out from the bottle mouth. He placed the palm of his hand and looked at it quietly, without saying a word. In the dark hall, 1 master and 1 apprentice, one kneels down and sits on the other, looking at each other without saying a word. The atmosphere was eerily quiet. Master, do you want to take this pill immediately? Senior's vermilion lips trembled slightly, and she finally couldn't help but speak. At this moment, for her, it was the most tangled moment in her life. On the one hand, she didn't want to disappoint the 2 senior sisters, and wanted to end everyone's suffering. On the other hand, the past childhood memories attacked her brain again. The person in front of him, no matter how heinous and harmful to the world, he brought himself up with one hand after all. Master. The girl covered her face with her hands, and her voice was slightly choked with sobs. How about Senior take this pill back, return it to the furnace to refine it, and then send it to the master? Okay. No respond. The tall figure in the black robe turned around straight away, not feeling happy or angry. I do not know how long it has been. In the dark room, a heavy sigh sounded. Star. What did you do as a teacher to make you hate me so much? You can't wait to kill your master? Huh. I love the demon lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Ji Shi Shui Bao Ao. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. Big love warms the lost girl. The words just fell off. Flutter. Senior collapsed on the ground, her beautiful eyes widened, her lips parted, unable to speak a word. Come with me as a teacher. It's time for you to understand master's intentions. After speaking, he didn't even look at the girl. Baifeng stood up with a flick of his sleeves. Master. Don't trust Senior. Sensing's cat-like eyes were wide open and brimming with tears. What do you think? Bai Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. The girl hurriedly shook her head, looked at the endless darkness at the end of the corridor, and trembled even more. But where does the master want to take Senior? Follow the deity, don't ask too much. Bai Feng maintained an indifferent expression of not allowing strangers to enter. Yes. The master and apprentice, one in front and one behind, walked through a long downhill corridor and came to the basement floor of the blood kitchen. The place is full of demonic energy, and the smell of blood is getting stronger. Sensing'er looked at the huge bone door made of tens of thousands of skeletons in front of him, and his heart felt even colder, and he instinctively took a step back. At this moment, she was surprised to find that there was only one eye socket in these skulls, which looked very strange. Master, these are all. The girl tremblingly glanced at the man beside her. At this moment, Bai Feng secretly swallowed his saliva. It turned out that when the scene was unlocked in the game, Bai Qingling was already dying after taking the poisonous pill. The male protagonist Xiao Chen, played by the player, came to make up the knife and kill the boss. In order to pass the review in the game, many scene details are not shown at all, so the sense of horror is not bad. Now that the game has turned into reality, and seeing this gate called Jingguan with his own eyes, Bai Feng truly understands Bai Qingling's perverted horror. It's so humming, infiltrating. The sand value has dropped to the bottom. Noticing the girl's gaze, Bai Feng recalled the plot and said indifferently. Good. These are all the one-eyed witches who live in the Shiwanda Mountains in southern Xinjiang. When I was young and fled, I was lured to the mountains by Tuoba Changjiao, the leader, and suffered the most extreme torture in the world. Life would be better than death. And the purpose of Tuoba Changjiao is to make the soul of the deity collapse, so that he can use the evil method of the witch clan to extract my innate formless demon seed purely and purely for his own use. It's a pity that on the last day, when Tuoba Changjiao used the broken spirit torture on the deity, the demonic blood in my body broke out, broke free from the shackles, and escaped from birth with the help of a shelled golden cicada. When my magic skills are complete, the first thing I do is to return to the 100,000 mountains and repay the kindness of this group of Wu people. He spoke lightly, as if it was someone else's story. The girl at the side was terrified. The broken spirit torture is recognized as the #1 torture in the cultivation world. Even people in the way of demons who kill as they wish, are not ashamed of this way. The principle is to use 100 refined spiritual hammer to precisely beat the victim in the pineal gland on the forehead of the brain, where the spiritual roots are located, until the spiritual roots burst, the spiritual consciousness is lost, and the soul is permanently torn apart, falling into the broken realm of Hongmen, not entering reincarnation. No wonder he turned out to be so ruthless and cruel later on. It is said that when he was young, his master taught him, when he was adopted at the beginning, it was only to seize the demon seed in his body. Whoever it is, will experience such a cruel situation, and will have a psychological breakdown. It hurts to kiss him in the world, so why let him repay it with a song? At this moment, Sensing'er looked at the tall and burly specter in front of her, forgetting that she was here to end the other party, even still a little distressed. Her eye sockets turned red. If it was before, she really wanted to be bold, to lean into his broad chest, and hug this man who raised her up. But now, the two senior sisters had already revealed everything to her and learned the true face of this man. If you don't kill him this time. The two senior sisters, fellow sects of Yuluo Palace, and even the entire Kangming sect and Yunzhou continent, how many people will be buried in his hands? Senior, let's go in. Inside is what the deity wants you to see. Yu Guang noticed that the girl's mood was different, and Bai Feng didn't want to make troubles, so he pushed open the bone door. Yes. Master. Sensing'er was holding the pill bottle in her hand, and followed behind step by step. She was determined to pay attention at this moment. If it was this man, he would have found out everything. Then, from now on, she can only use strong ones. After all, senior brother Xiao Chen next door swore to her again and again that demon lord Qingling had lost all his mana at this time and was just a paper tiger. Entering the bone gate, you will come to a vaulted hall filled with emeralds and jade. Compared with the entrance to the basement just now, this place actually has a fairy charm, and it doesn't look like a magical cave at all. Do you know what this is? Bai Feng raised his head and looked at the dome of the hall, a row of blood-colored magic beads floating in the void, like eyeballs. This is the shadow bead. The girl yelled out. She didn't know this thing at first. Until the age of 13, she found an inconspicuous and strange bead in the corner of her bedroom. And when she paid attention, the blood-colored orb, like a living thing, quickly escaped from her sight. At this time, second senior sister Tantai Lingying came over and told her a terrible secret. Turn out to be. This thing is called Stealing Shadow Orb. It is a magic weapon refined by his master Bai Qingling from the magic core of the fly in the blood pool. It can monitor every move of others and follow the owner of the magic weapon. Feedback the screen. And ever since they entered the teacher's school, their every move has been watched by that man. In the words of the second senior sister. In the eyes of that man, they are not disciples, but tools in captivity. It's his within reach. Under the entrustment of the second senior sister, these years, I endured the humiliation and pretended not to know the existence of these beads, and let him peep at them frantically. But why did he take the initiative to show this thing to me? The girl's mind was fluctuating, and her little hands were rubbing behind her back, sweating. He didn't even dare to look directly at the man next to him, who was as deep as an abyss in the city. Senior, raise your head and look carefully. In the dead silence, Qingling Demon Venerable spoke again, his voice was still as indifferent as before. Yes, master. Sen Senior bit her lip, looked up, and saw about a dozen orbs above her head, reflecting crimson beams of light at the same time. In the blink of an eye, a huge curtain of light condensed in the void. At the same time, scenes of lifelike pictures are presented on the light curtain. The first scene emerges. In the picture, a 5 or 6-year-old girl with chauffeur braids kneels down in front of her parents' corpses, crying loudly. Behind her is a man with a ferocious look like a bandit holding a cold knife. It seemed that the little girl's cries had made the bandits a little impatient. Laugh. The steel knife reached out to her after all. The little girl closed her eyes in despair. At this moment, the hideous laughter of the bandits stopped abruptly. Immediately afterwards, the surrounding wind and the rustling of leaves all disappeared. Time and space seemed to be frozen. In the picture, a handsome young man in black robe appeared. He stepped over the corpses of a group of bandits and came to the girl step by step, until the tall figure submerged his thin figure. The little girl came back to her senses, looked at the face of the savior, and asked in a shy voice. Who are you? My name is Bai Qingling. Are you an immortal who saves the suffering from the sky? I beg you, save my parents. Gods and Buddhas ignore the world, and demons never abandon all beings. The man looked at her, word by word, with an irresistible temptation in his voice. Child, let me go. Where are you going? Go home. Under the afterglow of the setting sun, the man stretched out his pale hands, and gently cupped the girl's rosy cheeks. The screen freezes at this scene. Master. Memories of the past resurfaced in front of her eyes again. Sen Senior couldn't hold back any longer, and burst into tears. It's master. At that time, he was still his most dependent, powerful, and gentle master. She could even recall the warmth of those big hands reaching out to her. With all kinds of emotions intertwined, she peeked at the man next to her. But seeing that the other party was still expressionless, he just said indifferently, It's been 10 years since the time passed. Sensiner held back her sobs and looked again. Only to see the next moment. The light curtain in the void changed again, presenting another picture. That is the picture of my master combing my hair and changing into the clothes of the sect. Her eyes turned red again. Call out! Call out! Call out! In the following time, the picture on the light curtain kept jumping and changing. The heroine of the picture has also changed from a chubby girl to a slim and graceful young girl. It's just that the silent man, in her lens, the image is appearing less and less, less and less. At this time, Sensiner seemed to have completely forgotten the purpose of the strip, and she covered her face and wept bitterly. Baifeng peeked at the other party's reaction from the corner of his eye, and then heaved a sigh of relief. Only after this girl is dealt with can the next plan to change fate against the sky continue. He sighed and said, Senior, as you can see, your every move these years is under the control of Master. You lost your parents when you were young, and your childhood was miserable. At that time, Master only hoped that in the days to come, he would protect you well and not let you suffer any harm. However, Master has asked himself that it is difficult to do it. Your master has been rampant and made countless enemies in his life. You are my disciples, so you will naturally be plotted and liquidated by countless people. The master is busy with cultivation and cannot be by your side all the time, so he refined these stealing shadow beads so that he can protect you in time when you are in danger. However, in my opinion, this is not enough. Thus, these years, Master has deliberately enslaved you, scolded you, trampled on your dignity in front of others, and let the world know that I treat you harshly. In this way, if the crowd of the world attacks in the future and I accidentally fall, the three of you, there is still a reason to stand opposite me and keep yourself safe. Master, I originally planned to bury the secret for the rest of my life, but now, seeing that you hate my teacher so much, you even have the heart to kill me, teacher, hey. Speaking of this, Baifeng let out a heavy sigh pretending to be deeply sad. That's all. Respect me, master. I just hope that my family Senior can be safe and happy for the rest of her life. As for the rest, it's not very important. This is just finished. Hearing a woo, the girl next to her burst into tears. Master. Senior was wrong. Senior shouldn't listen to other people's instigation. Senior is a big fool. Senior should have known that Master is the best person in this world to me. Senior is really wrong. Please forgive me, Master. Senior is really wrong. Really love Master. The girl smashed the pill bottle in her hand and knelt down in front of the man. At this moment, her hair was brushing against her face, her eyes were full of tears, and that delicate little face looked even more beautiful and moving. No need. Baifeng shook his head seemingly in pain, then bent down, and gently pinched the girl's warm cheek. A broken mirror is hard to put back together. Since you have the heart to kill your master, the master-student relationship between you and me is over. As he spoke, his hand slid down from the girl's cheeks, came to the long snow-white neck, and then put them on the collar of the royal beast. Gently raise your hand. The collar was taken off. You're free. From now on, the world is so big, you can go or stay. Let's go, don't force me to change my mind. Baifeng had just finished speaking in a cold tone. In the next second, something unexpected happened to him. Sensiner gently took back the collar in his hand, and put it back on her neck. Then, in front of his knees, the well-behaved duck sits, raising a cute little face, smiling with tears. Never. Senior, willing to be Master's puppy for the rest of his life. Baifeng, oh. I love the Demon Lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Ji Shi Shui Bao. Chapter 5. This girl's reaction is too much. I don't know, Does this count as influencing her with great love? Bai Feng muttered in his heart. Owner. At this moment, a weak call came from the side. Bai Feng withdrew his thoughts, and glanced at the lovely and pitiful girl kneeling under his knees. Sen Singer's eyes were wet and red, and she choked up. I should not listen to the instigation of wicked people. But master, please believe. Until the moment I stepped into the blood kitchen, in Singer's heart, the master is still the best master. Please let Singer continue to serve the master. At this moment, Bai Feng's surface is calm and breezy, but secretly he is starting to brainstorm. If I change my way of doing things right now, it will be completely inconsistent with Bai Qingling's personality, and there may be big troubles. After all, I have no magic power now, so it's hard to say whether this girl is cheating on me or not. You know, not only the three apprentices, the hero Xiao Chen, but also a large group of old enemies within the Kangming sect, are ready to kill me at any time. That's right, in the current situation, if I want to survive, instead of relying on this moth system, I might as well rely on Bai Qingling's past prestige to frighten the enemies, which is more realistic. Think about it. Bai Feng narrowed his eyes, and said indifferently, it's over, Singer. Don't you understand the meaning of the deity? As soon as you have the heart to kill your teacher, our relationship is over. After finishing speaking, he flicked his sleeves indifferently, and turned his back, quickly retreat. Don't force the deity to change his mind. Master! Master, is this going to drive Singer away? Sen Singer looked at the void with a pair of big eyes in bewilderment. In an instant, she got the courage from somewhere, and rushed forward, wrapping her jade arms around Master's waist. No. Singer would rather die. Don't leave Master. The girl cried and plunged into the man's broad chest. This is the first time she has touched this unattainable man at close range since she grew up. She just felt the long-lost warmth in this embrace. Just like 10 years ago, at the foot of Kangming Mountain, when the two first met. I beg the master to give Singer another chance. Singer is real. I really like my master. The girl cried and told. In the end, she simply pressed her small face to that broad chest, her cheeks flushed even more, showing a touch of morbid intoxication. Who am I? Where am I? What should I do next? At this moment, Mo Junqingling, who was locked up by a strong girl and full of tenderness and soft jade, was also in a state of chaos in his heart. Girl, you are deformed, love. Just when he was at a loss. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Completed the novice task. You get a reward, points add 500. Golden treasure chest X1. Kangming sect, Yaluo Hall, outside the gate of the hall. A woman in white was standing on the edge of a cliff with a sword in her back. When you see her picturesque eyebrows, beautiful appearance, 3,000 black hair, not restrained, falling down naturally, with the flap of her clothes flying, her curvaceous body stands upright gracefully, without saying a word, her expression is as straight as the one in the picture scroll fairy lady. At this moment, her round and beautiful eyes were looking forward worriedly, as if she had a very serious mind. Senior sister Tantai, junior sister Singer hasn't come out yet. Behind him, a handsome young man walked over anxiously. Hearing this, the woman in white pursed her lips tightly, and her expression became more and more worried. Singer has been in the blood kitchen for an hour, and she hasn't come out yet, and I don't know why. Could it be, the devil noticed something? Junior sister Singer was exposed. The young man also looked nervous. Not at all. Tantai Lingian shook her head. I made an agreement with Singer before, no matter whether I succeed or not, I must inform me with a sound transmission talisman as soon as possible, but now, there is still no news, which means plans are still in progress. No. I have to go in and have a look. There must be no mistake in this matter. That devil must die today. The young man said with determination, and was about to stride forward, but was stopped by a long sword. I advise you, don't be impulsive. Tantai Lingian stared at the other party coldly. The devil has already set up a terrifying restriction outside the blood kitchen. Only Singer can enter the entire Yaluo palace. With your strength, if you want to break through by force, then it's courting death. Hearing this, the young man was displeased. Senior Sister Tantai, how many times have I told you that the demon has been destroyed? After we went in, we will kill the demon with white knives and red knives. Head. As for the restrictions in the blood kitchen, if the two of us work together, we may not be able to break through a gap. The young man's expression was sharp, and he said in a neither humble nor overbearing way. Who do you think is inside? Tantai Lingian looked in the direction of the blood kitchen ahead, and a hint of fear appeared on her cold and beautiful cheeks. That is the Qingling demon venerable who shocked the entire Yunzhou demon Dao. Your Excellency, ask yourself carefully. Don't say it now. Even if you practice for another 10,000 years, do you have the courage to draw your sword face to face with him? As soon as these words came out, the young man fell into an ice cave, speechless, and the sharp expression on his face was swept away. That's all. Then let's wait. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I love the Demon Lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Ji Shi Shui Bao Ao. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Respectfully send off my teacher Qingling Mojun. That's the job done? Bai Feng couldn't believe it. But say. How to use this point? Forget it, let's talk about it after passing this level. Cough cough. Bai Feng forcibly settled down, cleared his throat, and said, you don't need to say too much, until now, you haven't revealed everything to this deity. Ah. After hearing this, the girl poked her head out of the opponent's arms like a kitten. You said just now that you were provoked by a traitor, so you have the heart to kill your teacher. You are a disciple brought up by the deity, and I know your disposition clearly, so. The deity is willing to believe this. Bai Feng said coldly, but. You must say the name of this villain. Knowing the plot of the game well, he naturally knew the cause and effect of this poisoning incident. The reason for asking this question is just to restore the human settings. Master, I. Hearing this, Sensing lowered her head, her face was troubled. With the character of the master, he will not let anyone who dares to murder him. But, second senior sister has a deep affection for me, I am determined not to confess her. Then only. With mixed feelings, the girl bit her lips and made a decision, report to master. It's Xiao Chen, the direct disciple of the palace of Yingui. It's this villain. He's been sowing discord between me and the master. Not only that, he often confuses the second senior sister with sweet words on weekdays. Trying to make the second senior sister feel resentment towards the master. But what happened today has nothing to do with second senior sister. It's all about seeing her stupidity and being deceived by Xiao Chen. I beg the master to impose the cruelest punishment on Singer, as long as I don't drive Singer down the mountain. The girl said anxiously, then knelt down again. After a long silence, a cold voice floated from above. Listen, Singer, this deity can give you a chance. However, you need to do one thing for the deity, to make atonement. Yes. Master, please order. Without the slightest hesitation, Yuluodian personally passed on the three disciples, and said in response. Yuluo Temple Mountain Gate. Master, don't blame me. In the past, when you worshipped the master of alchemy, Xiaoyashi, and realized that his motives for you were impure, you seized the opportunity and killed him. But now, Lingyan just retraces the path you took back then. If you don't die, the three of us teachers and sisters will live in your shadow forever, and we will never be able to escape. Tantai Lingyan looked towards the direction of the Blood Kitchen Cave Mansion, her beautiful eyes were serious. Junior sister Singer has come out. Xiao Chen on the side said excitedly. Tantai Lingyan looked sideways, and saw a girl in a light pink dress walking towards the side. The two looked at each other and rushed over at the same time. Junior sister Singer. As long as you're fine. Brother, I'm the only one who has to worry. Xiao Chen said with a concerned face, and then reached out his hand, ready to take advantage of the situation to hold the girl's little hand, but he didn't want to. This younger junior sister of Uluidian quickly backed away, as if deliberately keeping a distance from him. Her eyes. It's clearly full of disgust. Singer, you take half a step back. Seriously. The corners of Xiao Chen's eyes twitched, and his hands hung in the air in embarrassment. It stands to reason that during the 10 years he was an undercover agent in Kangmingzong, he helped these two beauties overtly and secretly, did a lot of things, and gradually gained their trust. Even Sen Xing who had been poisoned and brainwashed the most by Bai Qingling, gradually took his side, willingly calling him senior brother Xiao. And now, I just try to hold hands with her. How could she be so resistant? The more Xiao Chen thought about it, the more annoyed he became, and he was about to ask something. But seeing Tantai Lingyan at the side, she pulled Sen Xing aside, and said softly. Junior sister, tell senior sister, can you succeed? Why didn't you send the message to senior sister as agreed in advance? Return to senior sister, Xing. Sen Xing lowered her head, gritted her teeth and said, it's done. It's done. Xiao Chen's eyes widened at the side, and the resentment on his face gradually turned into ecstasy. Junior sister Xing. You really made it? Did Bai Qingling really unsuspectingly swallow that poisonous pill? Xiao Chen was both happy and surprised, he just felt like a dream. Thinking that when he was 12 years old, he was ordered by his teacher to go undercover to the Kangming demon sect. 3 years and 3 years. A whole decade. He is walking on thin ice, not daring to relax. And now, finally got rid of the famous demon master in the continent. This also means that in the future, when he returns to the world of righteous cultivation, he will definitely be the chosen one sought after by thousands of people. However, Sen Xing didn't even look at him, and said directly to Tantai Lingyan who was beside him, as my senior sister said, that Bai Qingling is too conceited and thinks that he has already controlled me, so she doesn't have any vigilance, just accepted that Kanja Soul Eater scatter. However, after he took it, how did he react? Tantai Lingyan asked again. There doesn't seem to be much movement. Sen Xing shook his head and said, he asked me to retreat first, and then went to the underground secret room by himself. Tisk, there's no need to rush. Seeing that the second daughter ignored him, Xiao Chen didn't care anymore, stretched his waist, and said to himself, that Kanja Soul Eater is my teacher. I secretly paid a lot of money from the black market in Wuyang City. I bought it for 7 days. Only after 7 days, the poison of Soul Devourer will reach its peak, not to mention that Bai Qingling, who has transformed into a god, even if he is a great power of Taoism, can't escape the death of his soul. Become. Tantai Lingyan nodded, and said again, if it is true what junior brother Xiao said, we will wait another 7 days, but I have been unable to think through one thing, and I would like to ask junior brother Xiao to explain it. Senior sister, you might as well say it clearly. Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows and said. As far as I know, my master is wrong. Although the devil has done countless evils and is full of enemies everywhere, He has no grievances with you, junior brother Xiao. Therefore, why do you insist on cooperating with us? And offer such a shocking poison pill? Tantai Lingian looked at the young man with cold eyes. Hearing this, Sen Xing'er was also shocked, and looked over suspiciously. This. Under the watchful eyes of the second daughter, Xiao Chen's heart was shocked, and then he showed a look of emotion. Do I still need to ask this? Bai Qingling and I naturally have no grudges, but... As he spoke, he looked up at the sky, trying to make his expression look more sincere. That devil has been oppressing and bullying you for a long time. That is my great enemy, Xiao Chen. I want to get rid of him all the time, and save the two from the fire and water. So, don't you understand what I'm thinking? Enough. As if hearing the other party's frivolity, Tantai Lingian's cheeks flushed slightly, and she interrupted angrily, let's get back to the topic. If the rumors outside are true, the devil was really injured by that Muzinlin, and now he is poisoned by Soul Eater. After 7 days, he will die violently. Therefore, we don't have to take the risk of breaking the restriction and entering the blood kitchen. Only when the time comes, Xing'er will enter the blood kitchen to check his body, and report to the ancestor of the sect, the 12 empresses, and the other 3 hall masters. In this situation, it makes sense. Take a step back, even if the ancestor suspects us, he will just turn a blind eye. After all, Bai Qingling has made too many enemies in his life, and no one will speak for him. Tisk, as expected of senior sister Tantai, she is wonderful. Xiao Chen was overjoyed at the moment and gave a thumbs up. Okay, it's getting late, and I have to go back to practice swords with my master. Senior sister Tantai, junior sister Xing'er, let's meet again in the future. After finishing speaking, this eldest disciple of Yingui Palace hummed a little song and walked away. On the cliff, there were only 2 little beauties left, looking at each other with lonely expressions. Xing'er, tell senior sister the truth, isn't it sad in your heart? Tantai Lingian looked at her junior sister and asked softly. Sister, have you ever thought about it? Sen Xing'er's eyes were flushed, and she said softly, maybe master is not what we imagined? He's just being stricter with us and won't hurt us. Impossible. Tantai Lingian shook her head dejectedly. Do you know that after the demon killed his teacher back then, he cursed and killed hundreds of fellow disciples in order to hide his eyes and ears? I have heard about this, but, didn't it mean that the master let go of a junior sister? This shows, that he still has goodness in his heart. So what? The way of the devil is not evil. He is brutal and indiscriminate, without any bottom line. He is an extremely evil person recognized by the 2 ways of righteousness and evil, and he should be punished that day. Tantai Lingian said, therefore, you don't need to feel guilty, do you understand? Oh, I see. Sen Xing'er's eyes were complicated, but she secretly said in her heart, senior sister, don't blame me, all this is the master's order. Well, you have worked hard today, go back and rest first, don't think too much. Tantai Lingian's voice softened a lot. After the devil returns to the west, let's go and bring back senior sister, and the 3 sisters will be reunited as soon as possible. Yes. Sister. Sen Xing'er nodded, and asked again, what about you, senior sister? Recently there is nothing in the section I, the left protector, is also idle. It is rare to go back to Yuluo Palace. I am walking around. Tantai Lingian looked back again, looking in the direction of the blood kitchen, with a disappointed expression on her face. After the junior sister leaves? The second disciple of Yuluo Temple, with a tall figure, actually bowed slightly, and bowed to the distance with a sad expression. Lingian originally thought that he already hated you to the bone. However, until this moment, I still miss you in my heart. From childhood to adulthood, there are so many things, how can I forget? How can I forget everything? Perhaps as senior sister Feng said, even if your physical body is destroyed, we three sisters will still live under your shadow for the rest of our lives, becoming your slaves and never being freed. Master. Rong Lingying called you like this for the last time. Second disciple of Yu Luo Hall, Tantai Lingying, send off my teacher Mozhun Qingling. For the realm of this book, please refer to the relevant works in the catalog. I love the Demon Lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Zhi Shi Shui Bao Ao. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. Build the basic body and change your fate against the sky. Blood Kitchen Dark Room. Bai Feng checked his panel attributes again. My heart once again set off waves. You know, in the first expansion film, every battle scene where Bai Qingling appeared was basically killing opponents in seconds. Players only knew that this was a boss with thick blood and oppressive force, but they didn't expect it. He is so ridiculously strong. Although he has lost all his cultivation and a large number of supernatural powers, all of them are in a downtime state. But those a bunch of panacea auxiliary skills, alchemy, goo refining, etc., have all been practiced to the top. To know the protagonists played by the players, at the end of the second expansion piece, none of the auxiliary skills can reach level 60 or above. If Bai Qingling survives to the second expansion pack, I'm afraid he will join forces with Mu Xinlan to easily suppress and kill those big bosses outside the domain. There will be no players at all. From this point of view, plot killing is indeed the most suitable ending for this powerful supermodel villain. After a little emotion, Bai Feng withdrew his thoughts and began to think about the next plan. At present, I have asked Xing'er to pretend that the poisonous plan was successful, and inform Xiao Chen and my second disciple, Tantai Lingying. According to the normal plot line, Tantai Lingying will let Xing'er enter the blood kitchen in 7 days to check my dead body for stability. And at this time, with the disappearance of my vitality, the restrictions set outside the blood kitchen, which use the devil blood in my body as the source, gradually lose their effect. Therefore, in order to achieve great success, Xiao Chen made a name for himself in both righteous and evil ways, entered the blood kitchen ahead of time, and killed me with a makeup knife. Well, from the looks of it, 7 days later is my only chance. Be sure to pay attention. Bai Feng walked through a downward corridor and came straight to the basement on the 3rd floor. After sensing the boiling blood in his body, the huge bronze door in front of him automatically opened. Rumble. With the dull loud sound came. The bronze door suddenly opened, and what came into view was a confined space about 10 feet square. Compared with the spaciousness and depth of the 1st and 2nd floors, this place is more like a private storage room full of evil atmosphere. At a glance, the bodies, internal organs, and heads of various living people are soaked in strange transparent soul-detaining bottles. There are even some living bodies that still have breath, and their eyes are open angrily, cursing something loudly. It's no wonder that when I just crossed over, I heard various curses in my ears. It turned out to be coming from here. But having said that, this place is too unlucky. Bai Feng couldn't help cursing in his heart. Of course he does. This place is exactly where Bai Qingling sacrificed to refine his soul. And the people who were detained here were almost all righteous men who had made a name for themselves and tried to assassinate him all these years. I'm afraid I will spend the next 7 days here, or even a long period of time in the future. Therefore, if I want to change my fate against the sky, I must settle down and adapt to the environment here. I am the real Demon Lord Qingling. After some self-guiding, Bai Feng stepped into the hall with indifferent eyes. At this time, seeing him approaching, those poor test subjects became emotional and cursed more and more ferociously. Silence. There was a loud drink. Call out. The spirit calling banners hung all around, as if they heard the master's call. They raised up one after another, smacking the remnants of the test subjects. In an instant, the scene became dead silent. Bai Feng nodded in satisfaction. Well, the next step is to find that thing. After a brief glance, he came straight to a pool of boiling blood. Looking intently, in the center of the blood pool, there is a 5-foot square black wooden box engraved with obscure runes. He knows. What's inside is exactly Bai Qingling's building basic body. It was also a back road that Bai Qingling designed for herself before the decisive battle with Mu Xinlan. Without the slightest hesitation, Bai Feng put his palm on top of the black wooden box. Call out. As if sensing some kind of summoning, the ancient spirit pattern on the surface of the wooden box burst into a golden light. The next moment, the black wooden box slowly opened. A strong smell of blood came to the nostrils. Bai Feng covered his mouth and nose, and looked intently. An indescribable, blood-red, fleshy lump appeared in the field of vision. I saw this thing was about the size of a human head, with a sticky and moist surface, as if bathed in fresh blood. It looked hideous and disgusting. As Bai Feng approached, this indescribable object seemed to have sensed the master's call, and it jumped distortedly, like a living thing. This is Bai Qingling's basic body. This stuff is too cool. Looking at this twisted monster, Bai Feng felt that his spirit was polluted. According to the character design of the game, Bai Qingling is cautious by nature, cunning, and never puts himself in danger. Therefore, after he figured out that Mu Xinlan, the mysterious girl of Taoism, woke up from the ice coffin, he concluded that sooner or later, the other party would find trouble with him, the most popular demon giant in recent years, and use this to give glory to the orthodox cultivation world that has been decadent for a century. After some weighing, Bai Qingling first dug out the 5 viscera in his body, catalyzed by the power of the 5 elements, and stored them in the sect, 5 places with strong demonic energy in the earth veins. Then, he fused his own cultivation origin with his own innate non-phase demon heart, refined it outside the body, put it into a black box in the form of a matrix, and soaked it in spiritual liquid to seal it. As for himself, he temporarily used and cultivated the artificial 5 internal organs for decades, and the chaos-building body refined by hundreds of orthodox masters Mingdan. In this way, even if he is defeated by Mu Xinlan in the future, as long as a trace of remnant soul can escape, there will be a chance to rehatch a physical body and live out a second life. Originally everything was in his plan. Mu Xinlan really came to the door later, and he really escaped this disaster. It's a pity that he had calculated thousands of times, but he didn't realize that he died at the hands of the always docile little disciple. Too many sad reminders. Forget it, he is just a virtual character in the game, and I am the real Bai Qingling. And what I'm going to do next is to follow this route, develop step by step, and change my fate against the sky. Suddenly, Bai Feng stretched out his hands and grabbed the hideous and indescribable thing in the void. Sticky, slippery, dry. Just this weird touch made him feel uncomfortable. The narration in the game mentioned that this thing seems to be eaten alive. But can this stuff really taste good? The pungent and strong smell of blood made Bai Feng put on a mask of pain. He hesitated again. Relying on Bai Qingling's past power to intimidate her, she won't last long after all. Only when she becomes stronger and restores her former strength, can she survive. Yes, even if I get rid of Xiao Chen, I still have a biggest opponent, Mu Xinlan. I survived now, the world line has changed, and there will definitely be a bloody hand-to-hand battle with this woman. There is no other way. Under constant self-incitement, Bai Feng slowly approached the hideous and frightening mass of building elements to his mouth. Gilug gilug. Throat rolling. One mouthful after another. Bai Feng was surprised to find out. This stuff is surprisingly crunchy. Well, it smells so good. I love the Demon Lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Zhi Shi Shui Bao Ao. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Send Singer's dedication, new book is expected to catch up. Ah! Is this the pleasure of returning to the flesh? Close your eyes and enjoy the whole process. Baifeng just felt refreshed and happy, and even hiccuped a little unsatisfactorily. The next moment, he seemed to have realized something, and immediately crossed his legs into meditation, closed his eyes and meditated. I saw that in the Danshan, there were streams of strong and powerful cyclones, pouring into the body's limbs and bones continuously, forming an indescribable weekly cycle. I don't know how long it has passed. Huh, come out. It's so comfortable. Baifeng spat out a long line of Bailian, and slowly opened his eyes. When he saw that he was wrapped in purple magic radiance, his black hair was floating in the air, his eyes were miraculous and contained, and his appearance was like a peerless heavenly demon. At this moment, he can clearly understand. This body, which has an inexplicable sense of weakness since time travel, has been reborn and ushered in a new life. At this moment, every meridian and every cell of the blood flowing through is cheering in unison. Under the boiling of the devil's blood, he clenched his fists tightly. Boom! With blood vessels protruding like earthworms on the pale and thick arms, a force of evil spirit from the inside out spurted out, stirring the void, and emitting a sonic boom of bang 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 energy. Without any exaggeration. With a casual grasp, it seems to hold the power of 10,000 June. Ah, is this the power of the big boss? You know, this is only the foundation building period, the underage version of Demon Lord Qingling. If I use this brand new physical body to rebuild to the stage of transformation, let alone kill Mu Xinlan, what can I do with the empresses and goddesses in the second expansion pack? Baifeng's heart was surging and his eyes were blazing. At this moment, he suddenly understood Bai Qingling a little bit. What fame and fortune, confidant, are all just a fleeting moment. Physically getting stronger is the happiest pleasure in this world. No. The road of cultivation in this life has just begun, and there are still dangers ahead, so I can't be too careless. There are still 7 days before Xiao Chen enters the blood kitchen. Because I have recovered my vitality now, the blood chef's restriction is enough to resist anyone in the Kangming sect, except for the 3 main hall masters, and the 12 empresses. So I now have 2 options. First, use the cultivation experience in the previous life and use the resources in the blood kitchen to break through the alchemy within 7 days, and then let Xiao Chen in to crush the Ant to death in advance to avoid future risks. His current strength is only in the early stage of alchemy, so it shouldn't be difficult. Secondly, stay behind closed doors, ignore any affairs, and concentrate on cultivating in the blood kitchen. I still have my prestige, and those old enemies in the sect who regard me as a thorn in their side dare not act rashly. So, which step should we take next? Baifeng held his forehead with his hands, feeling a little tangled. You know, when he played games in his previous life, he could fail and start over countless times, and even if he spent all the resurrection points, he could still use the special Krypton Gold system of Pig and Goose Studio to become a Crown VIP, and forcibly push the level for 9,999. Today, games have become reality. As a desperate villain, every wrong decision is enough to end his fate. Forget it, it's useless to think too much. The most important thing right now is to cultivate to the alchemy stage first, to awaken some supernatural powers that are good enough for me, and then find an opportunity to take out the 5-element organs hidden in the underground magic veins of the sect, and replace the artificial internal organs in the body one by one, build the physical body into the strongest state. And before that, how do you use the points? Let's see first. Baifeng was about to call out the system. Outside the blood kitchen, a familiar girl's voice came through voice transmission. Master, Senior has completed your task. In addition, Senior has one more thing that I want to deliver to the master. What can this girl deliver to me? There is no such part in the game. Bai Feng was a little unexpected. After thinking for a second, he said lightly. Forget it, come in. In the lobby on the first floor of the Blood Kitchen. Bai Feng sat on the throne, looking indifferently at the girl kneeling under his highness. According to the usual practice, she took off her coat and apron, revealing her snow-white neck that she never showed to outsiders. However, this time, Bai Feng, who was admiring the girl's weak and pitiful posture the whole time, found that not only was there no resistance in his heart, but an inexplicable excitement arose in his heart. I really want to hold her ponytail while hard. Hey! You're just playing Bai Qingling. Don't be a pervert. I warned myself. Bai Feng asked in a cold voice. Senior, have you done what I asked you to do? Reporting to Master, Senior has followed Master's instructions and told that villain Xiao Chen the false news that Master has taken the poison pill. Sen Senior said obediently. Well, does Xiao Chen have any doubts? Bai Feng narrowed his eyes and asked again. Never. Sen Senior shook his head. When Xiao Chen heard about it, he was overjoyed, and immediately returned to the Yinghui Palace. She tried her best to describe it concisely, for fear of accidentally exposing the second senior sister. That's good. Bai Feng nodded in satisfaction, and asked again, then Xiao Chen said anything else? Sen Senior thought for a while, and said truthfully, reporting to Master, Xiao Chen told Senior that if Master took that poisonous pill, after 7 days, the poison would explode to its peak, even De Luo Jinxian would not be able to escape death, so. He asked his apprentice to enter the Blood Kitchen first after 7 days, inspect the Master's body, and then push the matter to the mysterious girl Mu Xinlan. When telling this matter, the girl's eyes were filled with tears, her slender wrist lying on the ground trembled uncontrollably. Almost. Just a little bit. He believed the nonsense of Xiao Chen, a villain, and killed his master by mistake. The other side. On the throne, Bai Feng listened silently, his thoughts fluctuating. In fact, he had thought about it before. Do you want Sen Senior to tell Tantai Lingyan and Xiao Chen that he found out about the poison pill? But think carefully. If so, the two of them would have taken the opportunity to deduce that the fact that they lost all their mana after being beaten by Mu Xinlan was absolutely true. After all, with Demon Lord Qingling's behavior, how could a girl who tried to harm him leave the Blood Kitchen alive? Certainly. The prerequisite for this round not to collapse is that Sen Senior is really influenced by him. But Bai Feng is still confident about this point. Eyes can't lie. Ah ha 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 ha. Suddenly, on the throne, there was a sunny and cheerful laugh. Master, why are you laughing? Sen Senior raised her head slightly, with a pair of cat-like eyes, she carefully glanced at the phantom of reverence above. My deity laughs at Xiao Chen and the people behind him, arrogant, stupid. They really think that just using this mere 9th-grade poison pill can make this deity fly away. Mu Xinlan severely wounded the deity, such absurd rumors deliberately released by righteous hypocrites. In the devil's way, there are still people who take it seriously. It's really funny. After finishing speaking, he swept towards the girl below, and said coldly. Senior, you didn't really believe Xiao Chen's words before, did you feel that this deity has no magic power? Sen Senior bit her lip. Under the gaze of that oppressive gaze, she finally lowered her head, and said in a voice like a mosquito, Senior has never thought about this matter before. She really didn't think about it? I didn't dare before. I don't even want to think about it now. She only knows one thing. If someone dares to hurt Shizun even an inch, she will kill that person to the end of the world with all her life. But with Master's character, the moment he knew that I had a poisonous heart, he would execute me. And he's forgiven me now, that's not what it means. Master has always been infinitely tolerant and loving the silly Senior who doesn't know right from wrong. In an instant, Sen Senior finally figured out something. A pair of affectionate almond eyes closed in pain, and crystal teardrops rolled down along the long and curved eyelashes. Master. Senior has something to offer to the master. The girl wept. Bai Feng's heart moved, and he said lightly, "What is it?" "This afternoon, I should be able to change the signing status. Tomorrow's follow-up data is very important. I hope everyone will follow along. Vote for a free vote, much appreciated." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I love the Demon Lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Ji Shi Shui Bao Ao. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Touch the head to kill. The main thing is pure love. Seek to follow up. It is the treasure that the master needs. The girl wiped away her tears, and took out a small blue pill that was crystal clear and round in shape from the storage bag. It's not. Is it the real 9-turn solid soul pill? Bai Feng recognized this thing at a glance. It was the 9-turn soul immobilization pill that Bai Qingling asked Sen Xing'er for in the original plot of the game. Bai Qingling is cautious by nature. He originally planned to take this 9-turn soul consolidating pill and then integrate the original Dao foundation to reduce the rejection reaction, but he never thought about it. Xiao Chen used Sen Xing'er and replaced it with Kanja Soul Eater powder. Falling the foreshadowing of defeat. And in the game, this 9th grade treasure pill, which is used to greatly enhance the soul, only appears in the item illustration book, and players have no way to obtain it. Now, it's actually presented in front of me. Bai Feng was excited in his heart, but on the surface he put it lightly, "Oh, it turned out to be the Juzwen soul immobilization pill. I didn't expect you to practice it. Master's order. How dare Xing'er neglect it?" Sen Xing'er's eyes sparkled, looking at the tall man, as if staring at a god. Since the master gave the order, in the past 3 months, Xing'er went back and forth between the spirit grass garden and the magic farm to collect herbs for refining the elixir. Because the master has specially ordered that this matter must not be made known to others. Therefore, after the alchemy formula is ready, Xing'er will go to the alchemy workshop in person, feed and refine it day and night, and never leave it. Even if the back of the eyes are smothered by the real fire of the pill furnace, and you can't open them, Xing'er will use the method of ice to stimulate your eyes and force yourself to wake up. In short, there is absolutely no slack. Master, please rest assured. Bai Feng said, "So, it's really hard work for you." After hearing this, the girl's pupils widened and she was dumbstruck. God. Master, he actually talked to me like this? He told me it was hard work? And with such a gentle tone? In an instant, the girl's eyes turned red again. Her beautiful eyes stared at the handsome man on the throne with a rare gentle expression, and she felt that all of this was like a dream. No. Xing'er doesn't work hard. After a while, Sen Xing'er regained consciousness and kept shaking her head. The bell on her neck jingled. But if the master thinks that Xing'er is doing well, can you? Not knowing where the courage came from, the girl obediently climbed in front of the man's throne, raised her blushing and beautiful face, opened her red lips slightly, and exhaled like a ranch. "May I ask the master to reward Xing'er once?" What the hell? What is she saying? Bai Feng was slightly taken aback. The 2 masters and apprentices knelt down and sat down, looking at each other. The atmosphere seems a little subtle. In a daze, Bai Feng finally remembered something, nodded. "Can say it." He raised his pale and thick right arm, with his wide and thick palm facing down, gently covering the top of the girl's head. Gently stroking the ends of her soft hair. Throughout the whole process, the girl behaved extremely obediently. At the end, she simply closed her eyes with a look of enjoyment, and with her bright red cheeks, she took the initiative to caress this big warm hand. This docile and soft posture is like a cat clinging to its owner. Really like. Singer really likes master's touch. The girl's red lips pursed slightly, and the blush on her face spread to her ears, as if she had entered a certain blissful state of mind. It's just a pat on the head. Why is this girl so devoted? Bai Feng was a little dumbfounded. About to retract the arm. Suddenly, a familiar electronic voice sounded. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Successfully spreading great love. Acquired points, 500 points, current remaining, 1000 points. Ding. The system mall has been opened. The host can go to the mall and consume points to exchange for items. Touch the head to kill. YYDS. The main thing is pure love. Bai Feng felt at ease. Although I don't know what's in the system mall for the time being, but it's absolutely right to save points first. Kangming Sect, Yingui Hall, the bedroom of the master of the hall. A woman with a lady's hair bun and a vermilion dress stands by the window, looking at the northern sky. It seems that there is something on his mind. Seeing that she has a graceful figure, plump yet slender, although she is wearing a hazy snow-white veil and cannot see the whole picture, the pair of beautiful peach blossom eyes that are only exposed are enough to captivate the soul. She is in the Kangming sect, second only to the suzerain, one of the four main hall masters, the master of the Yingui Hall. Sage embroidered face, Hua Yuerong. Disciple Xiao Chen, pay respects to master. A handsome young man strode into the hall and reported in a deep voice. Being interrupted by the other party, Hua Yuerong was stunned for a moment, and then, Lu Mei frowned, seeming a little displeased. Chen, you are becoming more and more unruly. How dare you trespass on your teacher's dormitory, place? Xiao Chen gritted his teeth and said, reporting to master, this disciple knows that master is going to retreat today, so he wants to report a major event to master before that. The situation is really urgent, please forgive me. Snort. Hua Yuerong snorted coldly, turned around, tell me, what's the matter? Master. Xiao Chen called the other party softly, and after confirming that there was no one around, he took a step forward. You must have heard of the recent rumors. The Lord of Yaluo Palace, Bai Qingling, was exhausted by the ancestral Saint Muzinlin of Misty Cloud Palace, and is now in the kitchen of blood, lingering on his last breath. You don't need to pay attention to such rumors. Hua Yuerong cast a cold glance at her apprentice. Chen, what exactly do you want to say? Xiao Chen said excitedly, I have a good relationship with the third disciple of Yaluo Palace, Sen Xing, and I learned from her today that Bai Qingling not only lost all his mana, but also suffered from a strange poison in his body at this moment. His life is hanging by a thread. At the same time, this moment is also the time when the restriction outside the blood kitchen is the weakest. Master, you can secretly go to Yaluo Hall, enter the blood kitchen, and kill that Bai Qingling. Now that the ancestor's death is approaching, the Kangming sect's people are very excited, and the election of a new suzerain is imperative. Only Bai Qingling, a strong enemy, has been eliminated, and the position of the next suzerain must be master. The young man prostrated himself and knelt down, trying his best to look submissive and sincere. However, the next second, snapped. A slap that spared no effort was slapped on the young man's face. Boom. Terrifying real power poured into the whole body. The young man was slapped until he vomited blood, his legs were off the ground, and he flew upside down several feet away. Master, you. Xiao Chen tried his best to support himself, and looked at the graceful figure in front of him with a look of astonishment. Humph, you, a brat, dare to lie about killing Bai Qingling. You simply don't understand the horror of this man. Hua Yuerong looked out of the window, her tender and affectionate peach blossom eyes showed a trace of awe, not to mention the rumors that have been widely spread recently, whether the battle between Mu Xinlan and Bai Qingling is true or not. That Bai Qingling is suspicious, sinister, and cunning, everyone knows it. Do you think he will keep an apprentice who may reveal his secret at any time by his side, and allow her to come and go freely in the blood kitchen? Oh, what Master means is that this is the fake news that Bai Qingling asked his apprentice to release on purpose, so as to lure our Yinghui Palace to take action, right? Xiao Chen sneered, and a trace of anger quietly flashed across his eyes. If it's a battle between Mu Xinlan and Bai Qingling, it's fake. The news that Sensing gave you is even more unbelievable. Hua Yuerong's eyes became colder and colder. You know, that Bai Qingling was a master of alchemy in the past, a disciple of the evil medicine master, and now the art of alchemy has reached the pinnacle, surpassing his master. Tell me. What? What kind of poison pill can make him helpless? Humph, master. You are too contemptuous of others. Xiao Chen couldn't sit still, and blurted out, "This pill is my teacher." What did you say? Hua Yuerong frowned slightly. Xiao Chen realized that he had made a slip of the tongue, and hastily changed his words, "Master, this disciple is wrong. Presumably, as Master said, the poisonous pill must be fake news released by Bai Qingling to lure people into the game. It's good that you understand. Back off. I'm going to retreat as a teacher." With a wave of Hua Yuerong's sleeves, a powerful and overbearing yin force swept out, and directly sent the young man at the door flying away. At the same time, the surrounding doors and windows were closed. In Nyo Da's dormitory, there was only one sad and beautiful figure left. Senior brother, when you killed Master and cursed hundreds of brothers from the same sect, but only left me alive, it was to make me hate you so much that I would seek revenge from you in the future. You did it. Now I am already on an equal footing with you, the lord of the Yinghui Palace, but you have never noticed my identity in these years. As for the rumors released by those righteous hypocrites, it's extremely ridiculous. Mu Xinlan's woman, even though she is extremely powerful and looks down on the Kyushu, I don't think she can defeat your 1,000 poisons and tricks. As a junior sister, no one understands your terror better than me. Just wait, your life will be ended by me, Hua Yuerong, sooner or later. Bai Qingling. I love the Demon Lord, my female disciples are all sick and delicate. Author, Zhi Shi Shui Bao. Chapter 10. Chapter 10:10. Gentle Foot Therapy. Don't use the little yellow knife to kill me. It's getting late, if you have nothing else to do, you should step back. Bai Feng withdrew his palm from the girl's head, maintaining a cold and paralyzed demonic expression. Yes, master. The girl who was immersed in the gentle touch last second suddenly regained consciousness. She stood up slowly, a slight sense of loss flashed across her crystal clear eyes. Just as she retreated towards the door with a dejected expression, a voice came from behind. Wait. Hear this voice. The girl's eyes lit up immediately, as if she heard the call of the gods. She turned around excitedly. On the throne made of obsidian, the domineering and burly phantom slowly stood up straight. Come over. Close to the deity. An indifferent voice came from above. Yes. Singer is going to the master's side now. Sen Singer's eyes flickered, and she kept nodding her head. At the same time, a slightly sickly frenzied joy appeared on her face. Tonight, the master needs her. She feels it. Her little face was flushed, brimming with the happiness of being needed, and she came to that tall and burly figure step by step. It was also at this moment that she found out. My own size can barely reach the master's broad chest. The girl raised her head, summoned up her courage, and looked directly at the handsome yet domineering face half hidden in the shadows, feeling as if she was about to suffocate her breath. Master, he is really perfect. Being able to serve the master is probably the greatest blessing in the world, right? The girl's cheeks were flushed, her breath was short of breath, and there were bursts of high C in her mind. However, at this moment when the atmosphere froze in front of her, the man she regarded as a god said indifferently, "Take off your shoes." Ah! Sensing was slightly taken aback, thinking she heard something wrong. "The deity asked you to take off your shoes." Baifeng repeated it again. "Take off your shoes." After confirming the other party's order, Sensing blushed, quickly covered her face, lowered her head, and said weakly, "Do you want to be in front of the master?" It turns out that there has always been a strange rumor in Yunzhou's magical cultivation world. The solace of female cultivators' feet are things of the yin, which can easily pollute the devilish energy of the earth veins, so they are regarded as filthy and taboo things. Also because of this, for tens of thousands of years, the female cultivators of the demonic way, even the saintesses who are as free and unrestrained as the Acacia sect, would not easily show their feet in front of others. The deity will say it one last time. "Take off your shoes." Baifeng deliberately lowered his voice, his tone was cold. Senior understands. Hearing the displeasure in the other party's tone, the girl's mind went blank for a moment, and she couldn't care less. When she saw her bowing slightly, resisting the shyness in her heart, she took off her shoes and socks. In an instant, a pair of round and beautiful feet appeared suddenly. Baifeng looked intently. Waiting to see this pair of girls' jade feet, the soles of the feet are white and rosy, the arches of the feet are perfectly curved, and the toes are round and graceful, like pearls. At this moment, following the girl's entangled mood, the little feet are twitching uneasily. How cute! Baifeng was in a daze for a second. He fixed his gaze on the girl's ankle. This is his real focus. On the girl's snow-white slender ankle, a long purple-black line can be clearly seen, like a blood vessel, extending all the way, and finally gradually disappearing under the sole of the foot. You were poisoned by the miasma of the demon flower in the demon farm. Why didn't you tell me about this matter? Huh? Baifeng looked coldly at the embarrassed girl beside her. It turned out that at the beginning of the game story, Sensing refined the real 9-rank soul immobilizing pill for Bai Qingling. When collecting the raw material demon flower in the magic farm, the thorn on the stem stabbed the sole of his foot, thus the magic barrier enters the body and sinks into the feet. It wasn't until the late stage that Xiao Chen fused with Bai Qingling's innate formless demon body, and finally detoxified her from the poison of the demon flower. Sensing bit her lip, and then said with sincerity in her eyes, "Report to the master." Senior just feels a small injury. It's not enough to make the master worry about it. As long as he can refine the elixir that the master is satisfied with, Senior will be the master. It doesn't matter if the poisonous barrier attacks the heart, and the whole body is full of poisonous sores. After all. Speaking of which, the girl boldly took hold of the opponent's strong arm, half of her eyes were filled with tears, and the other half shone with a happy frenzy. Senior was born to serve his master. As for everything else, in Senior's eyes, it doesn't matter. Hearing this, Baifeng, who played the role of Gaoleng Demon Venerable the whole time, also made waves in his heart. It's meow. This girl's love is too crazy. It's just a little butter. Don't use the little yellow knife to kill me. Baifeng lowered his eyes, looked at the thin and small figure that was pillowed in his arms, and his heart couldn't restrain his affection. "Sit down," he said. "Sit." As if feeling the powerful and terrifying aura of the other party again, Sensing instinctively took a step back. Where does the master want Senior to sit? There. Baifeng pointed to his throne. How can this be possible? Don't ask, just do it. Yes. Next, following Baifeng's order, the girl nervously came to the throne and stood still. After hesitating for a second, she sat down slowly. Put your feet up. Baifeng said again coldly. Huh? What? The girl was stunned again. Just do it? Baifeng's tone was indifferent. Yes. Seen or knows. Immediately afterwards. Under the gaze of the man I admire the most in my life. The girl turned her head to one side in embarrassment, and raised her right foot. The soles of her rosy white feet were pointing downwards, and her round, snow-white toes, like pearls, shook even more violently. The man in front of him remained expressionless. The only change is, from his lips, scarlet demonic blood oozes. He actually. I bit my own lip. Maybe the master wants to use your own devil blood that is invulnerable to all poisons, to completely purify the poison of the devil flower in my body. All of a sudden, the girl faintly thought of something. No. Absolutely not. Even if the master is willing, I definitely can't let him do this. The master is the supreme, destined to rule the world of the devil, and I am so humble, how can I defile his body? The girl was so anxious that she instinctively wanted to retract her jade feet. However, it was still a step too late. Waiting to see that tall and majestic phantom slowly sinking. The next moment, her small toes were also gently held by those warm and thick palms, unable to move. Immediately afterwards, the handsome face that made her think about it day and night, and she only dared to look at it from a distance, got closer and closer, gradually touching her ankle, and along the arch of her foot, all the way. She was right. The man in front of her wanted to use his magic blood to help her separate out and purify all poison barriers. God, the master is the supreme demon, and he is willing to get close to me. So, he didn't lie. He really cares about himself. The girl burst into tears. Master, it's impossible. There is. The girl struggled distressedly, and even called out the first master in her memory. But somehow, out of some strange instinct, she gradually stopped struggling. Not only that, she also lifted her long snow-white legs in coordination. New books are expected to be read every day. Ask for a ticket. Ask for investment. Now the starting point is very curly. This is related to whether the new book will be buried. Trouble Brothers.